Oh my god, y'all, when I say I am clutching my pearls, I'm clutching my pearls. Oh wait, hold on. I forgot to do my intro.
I'ma run the bag. Me and my hitters play tag. If a bitch gets talking shit, me and my bitches gon' drag. What is a fair one? I pull it out my air one. She wants more, she real dumb.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Marie, and today we are back with another TikTok compilation. Y'all, the stuff that I have found out that is going on in North Korea, absolutely not. Absolutely not. The rules they have over there literally make America look like a vacay. Like literally the most strictest rules that I have ever seen and or heard before. Yeah, okay. And then I don't know if you guys heard about her. Like I don't want to like butcher her name, but there was this girl who actually escaped from North Korea. Anywho, without further ado this, let's get into these videos because yeah, y'all need to see this. Rotate.
You're working in these chat rooms. You meet this woman and she says you just have to become a Christian.
Go and they study Bible and we have to prove our faith to them. Then they're gonna rescue us. That was a condition to be rescued by Christians. They had a shelter in China, some house hidden. So we went to their shelter and then we joined them as a group and studied the Bible every day.
So you became a Christian.
Yeah.
They eventually got you to South Korea.
They told us how to go, which was literally walking across the Gobi Desert into Mongolia from China.
You walked?
Yeah, they gave us one compass. We had even toddler in our group.
Went by compass.
This is the scariest thing that North Korea has ever done. In January 2018, this alert was sent to everybody in Hawaii, warning them of an incoming missile attack. The governor claims that the wrong button was pushed, but the operator that pushed the button for the alert to be sent out said that she was told it was not a drill. Apparently there was actually a missile that was launched by North Korea and it was set to attack Hawaii. But luckily the missile was intercepted and no damage was done. This is extremely scary, and the fact that North Korea could do this any day they want should terrify all of us.
The stunning video gained global attention. A North Korean soldier fleeing to freedom in South Korea, across the world's most dangerous border, finally free to speak out tonight.
Is this freedom? Yes.
Video of Oh Chong-song driving at high speed, leaping from his vehicle in a hail of bullets from fellow North Korean soldiers, was viewed by millions in 2017. A bullet penetrated here and came out this way, he says. I felt blood. I still ran, collapsing just across the border. South Korean soldiers pulled him to safety, but half unconscious, he says he feared he was being dragged back to the north, an almost certain execution.
The reporter who recorded that video, Kim Dong-chul, was arrested in North Korea after that thing went viral, and he was sentenced to 10 years of hard labor for espionage. And the girl in the video was allegedly found dead a few weeks afterwards, around October 20th, 2010. So Kim was the reporter who actually filmed that interaction on a hidden camera. Obviously, videos from inside North Korea are completely censored. There's almost nothing that shows us the reality of life inside the dictatorship. But this soot-covered woman told Kim that she was working in the fields trying to gather grass to feed rabbits. She also discussed with the reporter that she had lost her home recently and that she had also lost both of her parents and was living on the streets. She also went on to describe the horrific conditions inside of her home country. And this was shocking for the world to see because everybody knew that this is what was happening in North Korea, but I don't think up until this point people had visually seen what was happening. Somehow Kim managed to sneak the footage out of North Korea, but like I said, he was eventually arrested and sentenced to 10 years of hard labor, in part because of this video. And this was widely published across the internet. I'm actually going to play the rest of it for you now. It's really hard to watch stuff.
Don't insult the leaders, don't insult the ideology, and don't judge. These are the rules tour guides read out to Western tourists as they prepare to drive across the border into North Korea, arguably the most secretive and repressive country in the world. A group of 13 Western tourists, including some brave British souls, just visited North Korea for the first time in 5 years. For now, tourists are being kept well away from the capital Pyongyang. Greg Vatsi from Koryo Tours, the other tour company allowed back in, admits the current itinerary lacks the big-hitting monuments of Pyongyang. He suspects authorities have chosen Rasun as their guinea pig because the area is relatively contained and easy to control. COVID was often cited as the reason. As with all trips to North Korea, the tourists were escorted by local guides who followed a strict pre-approved schedule that included carefully choreographed trips to a beer factory, a school and a new fully stocked pharmacy, getting a glimpse of daily life that's rarely shared with the world. It is thought COVID hit North Korea hard, though it is difficult to know the extent of the suffering. Local guides repeated the government line that the virus entered the country in a balloon sent over from South Korea and was swiftly eradicated in 90 days. The regime's photographs might make North Korea look clean and shiny, but in person you realize the roads are awful, the pavements are wobbly, and the buildings are weirdly constructed. They've had 5 years to fix things. North Koreans are so sensitive about what they show tourists. If this is the best they can show, I dread to think what else is out there, one of the tourists said.
그때는 왜 했어? 그때는 해, 또 오려고 해.
When Songmi was 4 years old, her parents tried to escape North Korea, with her strapped to their backs. They were caught and sent to prison. Her father became sick and died. And when her mother was released, she decided to escape again, this time alone. Songmi was left with her grandparents, but soon they died, leaving Songmi to fend for herself.
그 주변 저 곁에 있는 가족들이 하나씩 사라진다라는 그게 너무 힘들고 무서워가지고 돈도 없고 아무것도 없어서 산에 가서 약초를 캐다가 약초 팔아서 그걸로 먹고 살고 배 걸지 않고 그냥 죽지 않고 살아가는 어느리 중하게 사는 그때여가지고 엄마한테 나는 무조건 탈북할 거야 라고 생각했던 게 11살 때였는데
It would be another 7 years before Songmi made the dangerous journey across the river to China.
건너기 전에 원래 무서워야 되잖아요. 그리고 물도 깊고 물살도 세가지고 죽을 수도 있는 그러한 건데 엄마한테 간다라는 그러한 생각에 제 무거웠던 짐을 던져버리고 이제 날아간다라는 그러한 기분이 들었던 것 같아요.
After 14 years apart, the pair have reunited in South Korea.
What was it like when you first met each other again?
내 성장 과정을 못 봤으니까 그냥 이게 내 앞에 왔으니까 그냥 딸인가 보다. 그냥 그렇게 생각했던 것 같아요. 그래서 그냥 안아주고 오느라 고생했다고 그냥 그 말만 했던 것 같아요.
한 15분 정도? 안고 그냥 울었던 것 같아요.
Songmi has never asked her mother why she left until now.
교도소인가? 거기 갔다가 왔을 때 내가 9살이었잖아. 근데 그때는 왜 했어?
앞이 캄캄한 거예요. 아예 내 집도 없어지고 돈도 없고 살 수 없는 형편인데 어쨌든 너무 힘들었어요. 그때 저도 애를 띄워놓고 가는 심정이 그냥 눈물을 많이 삼키고 갔던 것 같아요. 그때 사실은 데리고 가려고 했는데 또 브로커가 애는 안 된다고 잡히면 또 둘 다 잡히잖아. 그럼 또 고생하잖아. 그러니까 이제 1년만 봐주세요 하고 간 게 시간이 그렇게 흘러버린 거야.
그랬구나.
North Korea's Kim Jong-un allegedly ordered the deaths of dozens of North Korean officials for their failures to prevent deaths during the devastating floods. According to South Korean outlet TV Chosun, a member of the North Korean government said the 20 to 30 leaders were charged with corruption and dereliction of duty and were executed at the same time. A former North Korean diplomat also told TV Chosun leaders in the area are so anxious that they don't know when their necks will fall off.
North Korea says that it plans to expel Travis King, the American soldier who fled into the country while visiting a checkpoint at the demilitarized zone back in July.
The 23-year-old, who's from Wisconsin, dashed across the border between North and South Korea while visiting the demilitarized zone last July. He'd actually gone to the DMZ on a bus tour after leaving the airport in Seoul, where he was supposed to be boarding a plane back to the U.S. to face probable disciplinary military action after he'd been arrested in South Korea. North Korea says King has confessed to illegally entering the country, but it remains a mystery why they chose this moment to expel him. It may or may not be a coincidence that just this week the country has reopened its border to diplomats and foreigners after the pandemic, and perhaps they just feel they've got their hands full.
This is the difference at night in South Korea and North Korea. South Korea. 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 North Korea.
This is a very disturbing story, but I want you to try to explain it to people, how people were dying in these hospitals and rats would eat the eyeballs of the people who were dying, and children who were starving would eat the rats, and then the children would die and the rats would eat the children.
One thing that I still remember is when my sister and I was walking by the well. Like in North Korea, we don't have a switch. We don't have running water, obviously. We have to go to well or river to bring the drinking water. And there's a young teenage boy, I think, lying down, and his intestines coming out of his back. When you're really malnourished, that thing all opens up. You got zero fats. Every hole all opens. And you see dogs looking at his organs coming out. And he was still somehow conscious, begging for food at the time.
He was begging for food while his organs were coming out of his body.
Yeah.
North Korea is blowing up roads and rail lines connecting it to South Korea as threats between the two countries escalate to armed tension. Last week, North Korea accused the South of sending drones to drop bulks of anti-North leaflets over its capital, Pyongyang, which Kim Jong-un called a military provocation. In response, the North promised to close its borders with the South and construct a stronger frontline defense to address the quote-unquote confrontational hysteria from South Korean and U.S. forces. The two blown-up roads, which symbolized inter-Korean relations, now reinforce Kim Jong-un's January promise to abandon North Korea's decade-long plans for reunification. Pyongyang now claims that almost 1.5 million North Koreans have applied to join the country's army in just the last 4 days as tensions between the Koreas reach the brink of war.
North Korea has been dropping balloons carrying bags of rubbish and possibly sewage into South Korea. People have been warned to stay inside after at least 260 balloons crossed into 8 out of 9 provinces, basically making it across the entire country. Now, the military's chemical and biological warfare team has been inspecting them, and so far, it seems to be a load of rubbish and manure. So why? Well, balloons have been used to carry propaganda propaganda leaflets for decades. And after South Korean activists recently sent some over the border, the North Korean Defense Vice Minister warned that they would retaliate. This comes just weeks after South Korea banned a song that went viral praising Kim Jong-un. He said that mounds of waste paper and filth would show South Korea how much effort is required to remove them. South Korea has called it a violation of international law.
Uh-oh. North Korea has sentenced a 2-year-old to life in prison. The toddler's family were also given life sentences, all for one particular reason, according to a new report from the US State Department's International Religious Freedom Report. That reason? Carrying a copy of the Bible, which the 2-year-old's parents were in possession of, and is an offence that can surprisingly land North Korean citizens with the D-word penalty. Religious freedom is written as a guarantee into North Korea's constitution, though seemingly this doesn't apply if you're seen holding a Bible, in which case you and your family are screwed. Why was a 2-year-old jailed for life? North Korea's kin punishment practice means that up to 3 generations of a political offender's family, spouses, grandparents, cousins, even the tiniest of babies, can also be imprisoned or unalived, even if they had nothing to do with the original offence. A UN Special Rapporteur on Human Rights in the DPRK said in a 2021 report to the General Assembly, Christians are targeted as they're seen as a serious threat to the loyalty of the state. According to a 2021 white paper included in the US State Department's report, an estimated 50,000 to 70,000 Christians are imprisoned in North Korea. The UN Secretary General said of North Korea, the right to freedom of thought, conscience, and religion continues to be denied, with no alternative belief system tolerated by authority.
Yep, this is Kim Jong-un crying because North Korea will now soon no longer be a nation and be wiped off the map. People were terrified to see that North Korea may no longer be called a nation after reports were showing just how fast people were passing. A meeting shows the haunting footage of thousands of women weeping over the end of their nation. With a population of only 25 million people, this becomes devastating as reports show that just within the last few years, hundreds of thousands of people have died, and that's just from famine. With a report in 2010 from the WHO stating North Korea spends less than $1 per person per year on healthcare. As a result, women have been choosing to not have kids, leaving only to aging people with no young workers. Kim Jong-un was then seen weeping during the national meeting, begging more women to have children, or this may be it for everyone there. A lot of the women at the conference look like grandmas, so I don't know if they can help.
I think I still have information brokers I work with in North Korea. The reason people are not escaping from North Korea is not because the situation gotten better. It's just the security, border security got so tighter that nobody can escape. Even with the $80,000 of the USD cannot rescue North Korean person right now.
Oh, wow. Before, but it was possible with that kind of money.
Before $2,000 was possible, even like $500 was possible. And not only that, the security on Chinese side also went really up. Chinese side also had electrified wire fences. On top of that, they put the facial recognition AI camera there. So they can even notice at night who's crossing, who's not.
Wow.
So Chinese border got secure. And it's been just keep getting insane. And now rescuing one person out of North Korea became almost impossible work. That's why we don't see more new fresh defectors anymore.
North Korea is the only country where it is illegal for citizens to leave without permission, and they have just finally made it impossible to escape. You see, escaping North Korea results in very severe punishments, and even being related to an escapee will cause you serious penalizing, and that's for the ones who can even escape. Because when attempting to flee to the southern border into South Korea, you will quickly be stopped by one of the 750,000 troops guarding the entire border, or one of the 2 million landmines. And with the east and west being obstructed by thousands of miles of sea, it makes the northern border your only solution. Except it's not, as you would need to pass through the Yalu and the Tumen River. And for the lucky ones who made it through, China and Russia both have agreements with North Korea to send back any defectors they catch. Nevertheless, few fortunate individuals are able to make it through these harsh obstacles. However, everything changed once Kim Jong-un took charge. China got stronger security, border guards were given much stricter orders, new walls and guard posts were built across the border, and you now need permission to even travel within the country.
In North Korea, you could get killed for just owning a Bible. The only religion allowed is the worship of the Kim family, and anyone who's found practicing a different thing is expected to receive a heavy punishment. In 2013, 80 people were killed in front of a packed stadium for owning a Bible. In other cases, if you're lucky, you could just get thrown into a prison camp or tortured. It is believed that there are over 100,000 religious people in prison camps and around 400,000 undercover Christians in the country. One of the main arguments for the regime to ban Bibles is that, according to defectors, the Kims basically copied it. Kim Il-sung apparently made himself God, and Kim Jong-il his son, Jesus. What famous story would you copy to make a religion out of yourself?
If you go to North Korea and break the rules, you could end up in jail or even worse. Here are 3 things you cannot do in North Korea. Number 1, you cannot disrespect past or current leaders as they are viewed as gods. Never mention their names, even if it's positive, because it's an extremely sensitive topic. Every tourist is required to bow when visiting the Kim Il-sung statue. Number 2, you cannot take photos of government buildings, police, or construction. Why? Because the government wants North Korea to seem completely perfect, and any unfinished building does not represent perfection. Number 3, you cannot leave your tour group at any time unless you run in the Pyongyang Marathon, which I did, which gives you 4 hours of unsupervised time. Even when you return to your hotel, they lock the doors and you cannot leave the property. Other strict rules prohibit using local currency, going into random shops, and talking to strangers or stealing anything. But as long as you can use common sense, you are in for a rare look at one of the world's most isolated countries. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next.
And where you lived in North Korea, there was no internet.
Yeah.
There's very little electricity, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how much education did you get?
I never even seen the map of the world. So as even Asian, I did not even know that I was Asian. So the regime told me I was a Kim Il-sung race.
Kim Il-sung race.
Yeah, and then the North Korean calendar begins when Kim Il-sung was born. That's like Jucheon, that our history begins. So I don't even know what Jesus Christ is. And I don't know anything before Kim. So there was everything before Kim, the history was erased for us.
얼마입니까? 2,000원인데. 2,000원, 2,000원. Tiga. Taruh bunga dulu sana, taruh bunga. Saya taruh bunganya. Masukin. Apa angkat ya? Taruh sini bunganya.
So when you're born, you're 1, and then you gain age not on your birthday. January 1st, you gain 1 year.
This is only North Korea.
And South Korea, both.
South Korea too? Really?
Yeah.
So if you're born in December,
yeah,
you're 1 year old, and then in January you're 2, even though you're only a month old.
Yeah, exactly. Wow. So I was born in October. So I was 1, and then December 2 months later I became 2 years old.
So you were 2 years old when you were 2 months old.
Yeah.
So even though you were 17, you were really 15.
Yeah, so America, that's why there was some confusion when I was giving interviews in the beginning. When I escaped from North Korea age I was 15. So in South Korean press, I had to tell them Korean age.
Right.
Right? Then it translates to English article. So why was it 15 and 13? Because of the age counting is different.
Oh. Let's continue on your story. So 13 years old, you find a way to basically escape to China, right? Yeah. And you and your mother go.
Yeah.
Okay. You escape to China, how? By crossing a frozen river?
Yeah.
And it was so cold that the guards are down? Like, what is this situation? How do people stop the illegal immigration?
So they're like every 10 meters, guards with machine guns. And now after Kim Jong-un came, he buried the landmines. And then put the electrified wire fences. And then facial recognition cameras from China put on the border. So now escaping from North Korea became impossible.
But you were before this, right?
I was right before that. It was still with the machine guns and guards every 10 meters.
And they just didn't see you because it was dark?
No, the lady who was helping me, she was a broker. So she bribed the guards. That's why I didn't get shot.
Okay, so she bribes the guards, and then you and your mother get across, and then immediately after getting across, your mother is sold. You told this story on Rogan.
Yeah, so...
Okay.
8 crazy rules about North Korea you didn't know. North Korean citizens are not allowed to wear blue jeans or listen to foreign music. Citizens are assigned jobs and forbidden to change their workplace or residence without government approval. All citizens must display portraits of the country's leaders in their homes and bow to them daily. North Koreans are not allowed to travel freely within their own country without government permission. All North Korean citizens are not allowed to leave the country without government permission. The government controls the hairstyles and fashion choices of its citizens. Access to basic necessities such as food and electricity is limited and often allocated by the government. The government uses public executions as a means of controlling the population. Like, comment and subscribe for more content.
Women wearing shorts are the latest capitalist fad to have been outlawed by North Korea's benevolent dictator Kim Jong-un. As part of moves to annihilate the scourge of capitalist anti-socialist behaviour, North Korea released the Rejection of Reactionary Thought and Culture Act in 2020. Included in this is a ban on tinted windows, anything deemed foreign or capitalist cultural behaviour like dance, and of course, no shorts. An anonymous North Korean caller to Radio Free Asia shared that 10 women were arrested at a market recently for the crime of wearing shorts. Their punishment? Writing a statement on self-criticism and signing a document saying they would face legal consequences if caught again. Legal consequences in North Korea have previously included being disappeared or even executed. To add to this, these policies are supposed to target both men and women, but authorities only seem to be targeting women for the violations. Could this be anything to do with the fact that smoking outside is also banned, but their leader is regularly pictured with a cigarette in his mouth?
So you became a Christian.
Yeah, I did.
And several months of this studying the Bible.
Yeah.
And then they eventually got you to South Korea.
They told us how to go.
How'd you do that?
Literally walking across the Gobi Desert into Mongolia from China.
You walked?
Yeah.
Wow.
So they gave us one compass. We had even toddler in our group.
You went by compass?
Yeah. Horrifying thing about desert is that it looks all the same.
Right.
Nothing tells you what you're doing. You can just keep going circle all night. So they told us go follow the west and the north between in that direction. And if you cross the 8-wire fences, hopefully that's gonna be Mongolia.
Hopefully.
And then you find the Mongolian soldiers and tell them that you want to go to South Korea. So that means so dangerous. The chances of you making in that desert is not even like 2-3%. So they cannot lead us there. It's random luck. That's why they believe that God is going to show us miracle.
How long did it take you to walk from the Gobi Desert?
It was just only one day.
One day.
But we chose that in February 2009. And in the frozen Gobi Desert, it's like minus 40 degrees. So the soldiers is thinking nobody's crazy enough to cross right now in this freezing time.
So that's how you can do it.
That security is lower. Other times they're gonna shoot you because in that desert nobody knows if you got killed or not.
So who would be shooting you?
Chinese or the Mongolians, both of them can just shoot you.
They would just shoot anybody walking through the desert.
It's called a shoot order. It's like a shoot kill order. So they don't like bother to ask who you are. Just gotta shoot them right there and kill them.
And did you bring food? Did you bring water? What did you bring with you when you were walking?
Like in minus 40 degrees, you cannot even stand still for 3 seconds. Like if you stand still for 10 seconds, you're gonna die right there. So you don't even need to eat. You just have to, only thing I remember was moving.
Keep going.
Keep moving. Whatever I was doing, I had to keep moving. Otherwise, you get very, you don't get enough oxygen. You get very sleepy.
So you walk through Mongolia. It takes you 24 hours?
Mm-hmm. Just roughly one day, I think we took, yeah.
And then what happens when you get to the other side?
We didn't get to the other side. One just suddenly in the morning, the guards with the gun coming at you and asking you to put your hands up. So we all lifting our hands up, right? And then they were saying they're gonna send us to China and then back to North Korea to get. So North Koreans, when we escape, we bring the laser and poisons with us to ourselves. Because I mean, going to North Korea is way worse than killing ourselves right there. So
you brought poison with you to
the laser, yeah.
Blade, metal.
Yeah, metal thing.
Yeah.
Very.
It's razor.
Oh, razor. Yeah, we hide in the belts like everywhere.
So to cut your veins.
Yeah, like right here, right here is very easy to cut. These Mongolian soldiers didn't have to send us to China, but they want to see how we react. So that's what they were playing with us, right? For us, it's like a life and death. For them, it's like a joke. And thankfully, they would not let us ourselves. Like very last minute, they stopped us and turned the car back around to the Mongolian side.
So they thought it was funny to scare the refugees.
Yeah. It's funny to see how we fight for our lives. Yeah, but thankfully, nobody's choosing that route anymore.
So when they capture you and they threaten to send you to China and then back to North Korea, how did you get out of it?
I know, like if I miss the opportunity to in the car on the way to China, we are never gonna get the chance back. So we were ready to cut and then swallow the thing, and that's when they stopped. And sometimes they just go too far with it.
So it's always a joke to them.
Yeah, we did not know, but later, when we were leaving Mongolia, that's when they told us, actually, we didn't mean to send you guys to China. Like, we just do that every time when you arrive here.
And some people wind up anyway.
Yeah.
So eventually they let you go?
Yeah, they did reach out to South Korean embassy, and then South Korean... My sister and I was gonna escape. But when North Koreans say when you are escaping, of course we don't have phones, we don't have a map, we don't know what's the outside world look like. So at night, it is literally the darkest place on earth. We don't have electricity. So I was seeing these lights coming from China. I thought like if I go where the lights were, we would be finding some bowl of rice. So at 16, my sister left with her friend. And she left me a note while I was in the hospital. And then as soon as I got out of the hospital, I found a note. Initially, my mom and I went to look for sister where she went. But when we found the lady, she told me that she could help me to go to China that day.
And so this was you and your mother, and you were 13 years old.
Yeah. I told my mom, like, come with me to China. My mom was like, my father was home. He was waiting. Tragic thing for North Korea, we cannot even say goodbye to our loved ones. So if we got caught on the journey, and if my father knew that we were escaping, he's gonna be punished so much. So it's better off that he does not know that we are escaping.
You had no idea that there was any other way to live when you're growing up like this.
Because I never seen the map of the world. I didn't even know like the Americans, how they looked like. Because we don't have internet, first of all. We have only one channel that government controls every single content. We don't even have a cookbook. That's the thing, as a Korean, I don't even know what cookbook is. I mean, first of all, we don't have ingredients. Like, how do you find half pounds of pork, scallion, blah, blah, right? So cookbook is like pointless. And not only that, there's no fashion, because, I mean, we don't have freedom to what we wear. So even when I heard the job called modeling, I was like, what is that? So everything that I learned here is like all new concept to me as a North Korean.
One of the more horrific things that was you seeing your mother raped. And this is the first time you had ever even seen what sex was.
So I didn't even know that was sex. I did not know even that was rape because we didn't have the vocabulary in North Korea. So in North Korea, there's no word for stress.
There's no word for stress.
Because how can you be stressed in the socialist paradise? So there's no word trauma. There's no word depression because you cannot be simply depressed in socialist paradise. There's no word for liberty. There's no word for human rights. There's no word for rape or even sex. So I just thought something I was seeing was horrible. Later they told me that was rape. I did not know that was rape. Even murderers, rapists in North Korea don't exist. We don't even know what rape is.
Did you know that Kim Jong-il was such a big fan of basketball that he actually changed the rules of the sport? In 2006, he wanted to add some new rules to the sport to make the game even more exciting in his country. The official basketball rules of North Korea is a slam dunk is now worth 3 points instead of 2. A missed free throw actually subtracts a point from your team. A 3-point throw is worth 4 points if it makes a swish and doesn't touch the rim. And any basket made in the last 3 seconds of the game is now worth 8 points. I'd like to see an NBA game played with North Korean rules.
Wait a minute. If you love basketball so much, why would you change the rules? We're gonna end that right there. If you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like and subscribe button so I can continue to drop more gems like this for you. Bye!